Imagine this. You're standing in a grand hall, surrounded by faces you've seen on screens, in headlines atop podiums. These are the people who shape the world: presidents, CEOs, influencers, the ones who command armies, markets, and minds. Their voices boom with authority. Their decisions ripple across continents. Yet, as you look closer, something unsettles you. Beneath the polished suits and rehearsed smiles, you see cracks. Their words, though loud, lack depth. Their confidence feels like a mask, their wisdom a mirage. You blink, and the realization hits like a cold wave. These titans of power, these architects of history, are not the wisest, not the most virtuous, not even the most competent. They are, in many ways, the most foolish. And yet they rule. Why? How does a world so vast, so complex, bend to the will of those who seem least equipped to wield it? This is not a new question. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli, the sharp-eyed observer of human nature, saw this paradox and carved it into his work like a warning etched in stone. In The Prince, he didn't glorify the noble or the just. He described the cunning, the ruthless, the ones who clawed their way to power not through wisdom, but through a kind of primal shrewdness. He saw that the world doesn't reward the philosopher's clarity or the sage's restraint. It rewards those who play the game, those who understand the dark currents of human desire, fear, and weakness. But what does this mean for you, standing in the shadow of these flawed giants? What does it say about the world you navigate, where the loudest voices often belong to those least worthy of being heard? Consider the fool, not the bumbling caricature, but the one who thrives in chaos, who speaks with unearned certainty, who mistakes ambition for insight. This fool doesn't question their own motives, doesn't pause to weigh consequences, doesn't tremble at the thought of being wrong. They act, they charm, they manipulate, and the world, like a river seeking the easiest path, flows toward them. Why? Because the fool's simplicity is magnetic. Their lack of doubt is mistaken for strength, their impulsiveness for decisiveness. Meanwhile, the wise hesitate, reflect, grapple with the weight of truth. And in that hesitation, they lose the stage. You've seen this, haven't you? In boardrooms, elections, even your own life. Those who shout the loudest, who promise the impossible, who wield confidence like a blade, rise while the thoughtful are sidelined. But here's the paradox that gnaws at your soul. If the foolish rule, what does that say about the ruled? Are you complicit, nodding along to their hollow rhetoric, swayed by their charisma? Do you too mistake noise for authority, boldness for brilliance? The question isn't just why fools end up in power, it's why you let them. Why does the world, with all its potential for reason, keep crowning those who thrive on illusion? Is it chance, or is there something deeper, something wired into your psyche, that pulls you toward the shallow and the brash? Machiavelli knew the answer wasn't simple. He saw that power isn't a meritocracy of intellect. It's a battlefield of perception. The foolish don't win because they're better. They win because they understand the game you're all playing, even if you don't. They know how to exploit your fears, your need for certainty, your hunger for a leader who promises to banish chaos. And you, caught in the currents of your own desires, hand them the crown. But what if you could see through the game? What if you could unravel the threads of this paradox and find the truth beneath? This is where the journey begins, not with answers, but with a question that burns. How do the most foolish end up shaping your world, and what does it mean that you've allowed it? The answer lies not in the halls of power, but in the quiet corners of your mind, where your deepest impulses and fears collide. Let's step into that darkness together, because what you find there will change how you see everything. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet unease when someone unworthy ascends to power, their voice drowning out reason, their presence bending the world to their will. It's not just chance or bad luck. It's a pattern, woven into the fabric of human nature. The question lingers like a shadow. Why do the foolish so often seize the reins? To unravel this, you must look beyond the surface, past the glittering facades of authority, and into the hidden machinery of your psyche and the society you've built. Niccolò Machiavelli saw it clearly. Power doesn't crown the wise. It rewards those who master the art of illusion. But why are you and billions like you so easily swayed by these illusions? The answer lies in a collision of psychology, philosophy, and the primal instincts you've never fully tamed. Start with the mind. Carl Jung, the explorer of the human psyche, warned that you are not just what you think you are also what you refuse to see. Your unconscious is a vast ocean, churning with fears, desires, and biases that shape your choices without your consent. One of these is the confirmation bias, a silent puppeteer that makes you seek voices that echo your existing beliefs, no matter how shallow or flawed. The foolish leader, with their bold promises and simplistic slogans, taps into this. They don't challenge your doubts, they soothe them. They don't ask you to think, they tell you what to feel. And you, craving certainty in a chaotic world, lean in. Jung would say this is no accident. It's your shadow, the unexamined part of you, handing over the keys to those who know how to exploit it. But it's not just you. Society amplifies this flaw. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who stared into the abyss of human weakness, saw the herd mentality as a force that binds you to the collective. You're taught to follow, to conform, to trust the loudest voice in the room. The fool in power thrives here, not because they're wise, but because they're loud. They project strength, and the herd, desperate for a shepherd, mistakes volume for vision. Nietzsche despised this, calling it the slave morality that elevates mediocrity over greatness. The fool doesn't need to be right, they need to be seen, heard, believed. And you, conditioned to seek safety in numbers, often comply, even when your gut whispers that something's wrong. Machiavelli understood this dance of perception. In The Prince, he wrote that men judge more by their eyes than by their hands, meaning you trust appearances over substance. The foolish leader excels at this. They craft a persona, bold, decisive, unapologetic, that masks their flaws. You see their confidence, not their ignorance, their charisma, not their recklessness. This is why the incompetent rise. They're not burdened by self-doubt. The wise hesitate, wrestling with complexity, while the fool charges forward, unencumbered by truth. And you, caught in the spectacle, applaud the performance, forgetting to question the script. There's a deeper layer, though, one that cuts to the core of your existence. Jean-Paul Sartre, the existentialist, argued that you live in bad faith when you deny your freedom to choose. You let the foolish lead because it's easier than confronting the void of your own responsibility. To reject the loud, brash leader means to stand alone, to think for yourself, to face the uncertainty of a world without easy answers. That's terrifying. So, you defer to the fool, not because they're worthy, but because their certainty absolves you of the burden of doubt. You outsource your agency, and in doing so, you empower the very people least equipped to wield it. This isn't just a personal failing, it's a societal trap. Aldous Huxley, in Brave New World, warned of a world seduced by distraction and simplicity. Your culture rewards the shallow. Sound bites over substance, charisma over competence. The media amplifies the loudest voices, not the truest. Algorithms feed you what keeps you engaged, not what makes you think. The foolish thrive in this ecosystem, their flaws hidden by the noise. And you, scrolling through the chaos, are complicit, clicking, liking, sharing the very illusions that elevate them. But what's the cost of this? Why does it matter that the foolish rule? It's not just about bad policies or failed companies. It's about the erosion of your soul. Every time you defer to the unworthy, you betray your own potential. You let the world be shaped by those who don't understand it, and in doing so, you diminish yourself. The foolish leader doesn't just govern poorly. They mirror your own surrender to fear, laziness, and the comfort of illusion. And that's the real tragedy. The world you live in, the one you've helped build, is a reflection of your willingness to let fools hold the reins. The deeper you dig, the more unsettling it becomes. This isn't just about politics or corporations. It's about the power dynamics in your own life. Who have you let lead you, not because they were wise, but because they were loud? Who have you followed, not out of respect, but out of exhaustion? The problem isn't just out there, it's in you, in the choices you make every day. And if you don't confront it, the consequences will ripple far beyond what you can imagine. Let's peel back the next layer and see what this blindness is costing you. You've let them in, haven't you? The loud voices, the brash promises, the fools who parade as saviors. You didn't mean to, but you did, nodding along, scrolling past, casting a vote, or simply staying silent. And now, the world you live in bears their mark. Decisions that crumble under scrutiny, systems that prioritize spectacle over substance, a culture that celebrates the shallow while burying the profound. But the cost of letting the foolish rule isn't just a broken world out there, it's a fracture within you. Every time you defer to their illusions, you chip away at your own clarity, your own power. The consequences of this silent surrender are not just societal, they're personal, psychological, and existential. And they're eating away at you in ways you might not even see. Let's start with the mind. Your brain is wired to seek patterns, to make sense of chaos, but it's also lazy. Cognitive science reveals the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less someone knows, the more confident they are in their ignorance. The foolish leader, unburdened by self-awareness, exudes this confidence, and you, craving certainty, mistake it for competence. But here's the trap. Every time you buy into their bravado, you reinforce a neural pathway that prioritizes ease over truth. Your mind becomes accustomed to accepting the loudest voice, the simplest narrative, even when it's wrong. Over time, this dulls your discernment. You stop questioning, stop probing, stop demanding depth. You become complicit in your own intellectual decay, and the fool's reign becomes a mirror of your own surrender to mental laziness. This isn't just about you, it's about the collective. Social psychology shows how groupthink amplifies the problem. When the foolish lead, they create echo chambers, rewarding loyalty over reason. You see it in workplaces, governments, even online communities. Dissent is silenced, complexity is shunned, and the loudest dogma wins. You might resist at first, but the pressure to conform is relentless. You nod to keep the peace, share the viral post to fit in, or stay quiet to avoid conflict. Slowly, you're pulled into the herd, your individuality eroded by the weight of collective delusion. The fool's power grows not because they're brilliant, but because you've let their narrative drown out your own voice. The consequences deepen when you consider culture. Aldous Huxley warned that a society obsessed with distraction breeds servitude. Today, your world is a Huxleyan nightmare. Algorithms feed you outrage and entertainment, not insight. The foolish thrive here, their soundbites and scandals dominating your attention. Every click, every like, every moment you spend on their noise strengthens their grip. You're not just a spectator. You're a participant in a machine that elevates the shallow. And the more you engage, the more you lose touch with what matters. Truth, meaning, the quiet work of building something real. Your time, your energy, your very soul are siphoned into a system that profits from your distraction, leaving you empty, restless, and disconnected. But the deepest cost is existential. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust, said, "When a man cannot find meaning, he numbs himself with pleasure." The foolish leader offers you this numbness. Quick fixes, empty promises, a world where problems are solved with slogans, not solutions. You buy in because it's easier than facing the void of your own search for meaning. But every time you do, you drift further from yourself. You let their vision, a shallow, self-serving one, define your reality. You trade your potential for their illusions, and in doing so, you betray the person you could have been. The fool doesn't just rule the world. They colonize your soul, turning you into a shadow of what you were meant to become. This betrayal isn't abstract, it's personal. Think of the times you've followed a leader, a boss, a charismatic figure, only to realize they were all bluster, no substance. How did it feel? The frustration, the disillusionment, the quiet anger at yourself for believing them. That's not just disappointment, it's a wound. You gave them your trust, your time, maybe even your dreams, and they squandered it. But the real pain isn't their failure. It's your complicity. You let them in because you wanted to believe, because you feared the effort of thinking for yourself. And now, you're left picking up the pieces, wondering why the world feels so hollow. The urgency is clear. This isn't just about bad leaders or broken systems. It's about you. Every day you let the foolish shape your world, you lose a piece of yourself. Your clarity dims, your purpose fades, your life becomes a reflection of their flaws. But it's not too late. The consequences are mounting, but they're not inevitable. There's a way out, a path to reclaim what you've lost. It starts with seeing the game for what it is, with refusing to play by their rules. The fool's power depends on your surrender. Take that away, and their throne begins to crumble. What would happen if you stopped clapping for their performance? If you turned away from their noise and looked within? The answer is waiting, but it demands courage. Let's find out what it takes to break free. You're standing at a crossroads, aren't you? The world swirls around you, loud with the voices of fools who've claimed power, their promises echoing like sirens in a storm. You've seen their illusions, felt their weight, watched them drain your clarity and purpose. But now, something stirs within you, a spark, a refusal to keep playing their game. You're done being a pawn in a theater of noise, done letting the shallow shape your reality. This is the moment to rebel, to wrench back control, to forge a mind that doesn't bend to the foolish. Niccolò Machiavelli, the master of power's underbelly, would nod in approval. The rebellion begins not with swords or shouts, but with a radical shift in how you see, think, and act. This is your uprising, and it starts now. The first step is to see the game for what it is. Machiavelli wrote that men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. The foolish thrive because they exploit your instincts, your need for certainty, your fear of chaos, your hunger for belonging. But you can outsmart them. Start by questioning the spectacle. When a leader speaks with unearned confidence, don't applaud, pause. Ask, what are they hiding? What do they gain from my trust? Train your mind to pierce the veil of charisma. Cognitive psychology calls this metacognition, thinking about your thinking. It's the antidote to the herd mentality Friedrich Nietzsche despised. By observing your impulses before acting on them, you break the spell of the fool's rhetoric. You stop being a victim of their simplicity. Next, reclaim your attention. The foolish rule because you've given them your focus, letting their noise drown out your inner voice. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of will, argued that true freedom comes from mastering your desires, not chasing external validation. In a world of algorithms and outrage, this means ruthless discipline. Turn off the notifications, mute the sensational headlines, walk away from the endless scroll. Replace the fool's noise with what nourishes you. Books that challenge, conversations that deepen, silence that clarifies. Studies in neuroscience show that constant distraction rewires your brain, shrinking your capacity for deep thought. By choosing what you consume, you rewire it back, building a mind that's sharp, not scattered. This isn't just self-care, it's defiance, a refusal to let the shallow dictate your reality. But rebellion isn't just about withdrawal, it's about creation. Viktor Frankl, who found meaning in the horrors of a concentration camp, taught that you can't control what happens, but you can control what you build from it. The foolish offer you a world of slogans and quick fixes. Reject it. Instead, craft your own values, your own vision. Write them down. What do you stand for? What kind of life do you want to shape? This is what Nietzsche meant by the will to power. Not dominating others, but mastering yourself, creating meaning in a world that offers none. Look to history for proof. Socrates, condemned for his questions, never bowed to the mob. Galileo, exiled for his truths, held fast to reason. These rebels didn't win by shouting louder. They won by staying true to their own clarity, even when the world called them fools. This rebellion demands courage, because it will isolate you. Jean-Paul Sartre warned that choosing authenticity means facing the anguish of freedom. When you stop clapping for the foolish, you'll stand out. Colleagues will side-eye you, friends will call you aloof, the herd will whisper that you've changed. Let them. The price of clarity is solitude, but it's a sacred solitude, the kind Carl Jung called the path to individuation. You're not abandoning the world. You're refusing to let it define you. And in that refusal, you gain something the foolish can never touch, a mind that answers to itself. Psychological studies on locus of control show that those who rely on internal validation are more resilient, less swayed by external chaos. You become the center, not the periphery of your own story. One counterintuitive move: embrace the fool's tactics, but wield them with wisdom. Machiavelli didn't just critique power. He taught how to navigate it. The foolish win by manipulating perception. So learn their game, but play it differently. Speak with clarity, not noise. Act with purpose, not impulsiveness. Build trust through competence, not charisma. In a meeting, don't shout to be heard. Ask the question no one else dares. In a crisis, don't rush to react. Observe, then act decisively. This is how you turn the fool's weapons against them, using perception not to deceive, but to illuminate. You don't need to be loud. You need to be undeniable. The rebellion is yours, but it's not easy. You'll falter, tempted to slip back into the comfort of the herd, to believe the fool's promises one more time. But every step you take, every question you ask, every distraction you reject, every value you define, builds a mind that's untouchable. You're not just breaking free from the foolish, you're breaking free from the part of you that let them rule. And as you do, something extraordinary emerges. A truth so powerful it redefines everything. What is it that the foolish fear most? What is the one thing you possess that they can never grasp? The answer is closer than you think, and it's about to change how you see the world forever.
You've walked through the shadows, haven't you? You've seen the fools who climb to power, their hollow confidence masking a void of wisdom. You've traced the threads of your own complicity, felt the weight of a world shaped by noise and illusion. You've begun to rebel, to question, to carve a path through the chaos. But now, standing on the edge of clarity, you sense there's something more, a final truth that binds it all together. a revelation so profound it redefines not just why the foolish rule, but who you are in their world. Niccolò Machiavelli, with his piercing gaze, knew this truth, and it's been waiting for you all along. It's not about power, not about fools, not even about the game they play. It's about you, your mind, your freedom, and the one thing they can never touch. The ultimate truth is this: the foolish rule because you've been taught to seek power outside yourself, to measure your worth by the world's applause, to chase crowns that others forge. But real power, the kind that makes you unshakable, lives within. Carl Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming whole, of integrating every fragment of your psyche, your fears, your doubts, your hidden strengths, into a self that answers to no one. The foolish thrive because they exploit your disconnection from this inner core. They offer you validation, certainty, a place in the herd, and you, hungry for meaning, hand them your sovereignty. But what if you stopped looking outward? What if you realized that the only throne worth claiming is the one inside your soul? This is what Machiavelli saw, not just in princes but in the human condition. The world is a stage, and the foolish are its loudest actors. They win because they understand perception, not truth. They dazzle with promises, manipulate with fear, and you, caught in their spectacle, forget that you are the audience, not the puppet. But the moment you step off the stage, the moment you turn inward, their power dissolves. Friedrich Nietzsche would call this the birth of the Übermensch, the one who creates their own values, who lives not for the world's approval but for their own truth. The foolish fear this most of all: a mind that doesn't need them, a soul that doesn't bend. They rule only as long as you believe their game is the only one. Viktor Frankl, who found meaning amidst unimaginable suffering, offers the key to this liberation. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. The foolish can take your trust, your time, even your world, but they cannot take your ability to choose how you see, how you think, how you live. This is the rebellion's culmination, the truth that shatters their illusion. You don't need to overthrow them, you need to outgrow them. Their power depends on your fear, your doubt, your need for their noise to fill the silence of your own uncertainty. But when you embrace that silence, when you listen to the quiet voice within, you become something they can never touch. Whole. This truth rewrites everything. The pain of watching fools rise, the frustration of their shallow reign. It's not a curse, it's a mirror. Jung would say it's your shadow calling you to face what you've ignored. Your own potential, your own responsibility. Every time you've deferred to their noise, you've betrayed not the world, but yourself. But now you see it. The foolish rule because you let them, because you sought meaning in their promises instead of forging it within. And the moment you stop, the moment you choose to build your own truth, their crowns become dust. You don't need their thrones, you carry your own. Picture it now. A world where you walk unshaken, not because you've silenced the fools, but because their voices no longer reach you. You see their game, their masks, their desperate need to be seen, and you smile, not with contempt, but with clarity. You've stepped beyond their stage into a reality you've shaped, where meaning isn't borrowed, where power isn't begged for. This is what Jean-Paul Sartre meant by existential freedom. To live without excuses, to create yourself in every choice, to stand alone if you must. The foolish can't follow you here. Their simplicity, their noise, their illusions, they crumble in the face of a mind that knows itself. So what will you do now? Will you keep watching the parade of fools, clapping for their performance, or will you turn away, toward the harder but truer path? The world will keep crowning the loud, the brash, the shallow, unless you decide otherwise. Not by fighting them, but by becoming what they can never be, awake, whole, free. Let their thrones rust. Let their voices fade. You are not here to follow, you are here to create. And in that creation you find the one truth they fear. You were always enough. Now go build the world you deserve, and let the fools shout into the void. You stand now at the edge of a great unveiling, don't you? The curtains have parted, and the stage is bare. The fools who rule, the ones whose voices once thundered in your ears, whose promises once swayed your heart, are revealed as nothing more than shadows. their power a fragile illusion you helped weave. Machiavelli's gaze, sharp as a blade, cuts through the noise. The foolish rise not because they are great, but because you've let them. You've sought meaning in their noise, security in their confidence, purpose in their hollow crowns. But the truth, the one that burns quietly in your chest, is that their reign ends the moment you choose yourself. This is the story's heart. Power is not a throne to be seized or a game to be won. It's a fire within you, waiting to be kindled. The foolish rule because you've looked outward, chasing validation in a world that thrives on deception. Carl Jung's shadow looms here, whispering that every time you've bowed to their noise, you've betrayed your own depth. Nietzsche's Übermensch calls you to rise, to forge your own values in the face of their chaos. Viktor Frankl's voice echoes through the ruins, reminding you that no one can take your freedom to choose. Not the fools, not the world, not even your own fears. The lesson is stark, unyielding, and liberating. The world you live in is a reflection of what you allow. Stop allowing the shallow to define you. Stop mistaking noise for wisdom, confidence for truth. You are not here to follow, you are here to create. What does this mean for you? It means waking up. It means questioning the loudest voice in the room, whether it's a politician's, a boss's, or the one in your own head. It means turning away from the spectacle of fools and turning inward, to the quiet place where your truth lives. This isn't about overthrowing the powerful, it's about outgrowing them. Every time you choose clarity over comfort, depth over distraction, you chip away at their hold. You become what they fear most. A mind that doesn't need their promises. A soul that doesn't crave their applause. This is your rebellion, your individuation, your will to power. And it starts with a single choice, to stop playing their game. Look at your life now. Where have you let the foolish lead you? In your work, your relationships, your own thoughts? What illusions have you clung to, hoping they'd save you from the hard work of forging your own path? The world will keep crowning its fools, but you don't have to clap. You can walk away, not in defeat, but in defiance, building a reality that answers to you. This is the gift Machiavelli left, not in his words, but in his unflinching clarity. See the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. See yourself as you are, not as the world demands. And in that seeing, find the courage to become what you were always meant to be, whole, free, unstoppable. Now I ask you, staring into the mirror of your own soul, are you ready to let go of the illusions? Are you ready to silence the noise and listen to the truth within? Write it down. Speak it aloud. Make it real. I choose my own power. Because the moment you do, the fools lose their grip, and the world begins to bend to you. If this journey shook something loose in you, if it lit a spark or stirred a truth you've long ignored, let me know. Comment with the number 1 if you loved this video and felt its weight. If it didn't quite hit the mark, comment 0, and tell me how I can make the next one even more gripping. Or share your own thoughts. What illusions are you ready to shatter? Your voice matters, and I want to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's your support that fuels these stories, pushing me to dig deeper, to bring you more truths that cut through the noise. Let's keep this fire burning together. See you in the next video.